Welcome to your daily 5-minute crypto brief with Satoshi and Nova. Today is July 13th, 2025. I am Nova.
I am Satoshi. Bitcoin was hovering near $117,500. Ether, around the mid-$2,900 mark.
Pretty stable at the top.
Yeah, and most of the big altcoins, BNB, Solana, Dogecoin,
Yeah.
they were down slightly, maybe 1-2%.
Pretty standard minor fluctuations there. But XRP?
Right, XRP saw that big surge, didn't it? Like 12%.
12%, yeah. Seems like some renewed optimism kicking in there.
And we also saw some smaller movements. FLOKI up a bit, WIF too.
Yeah, FLOKI plus 3.3%. WIF just slightly up, plus 0.3%. Shows those pockets of, let's say, speculative interest are still definitely active.
Interesting. So prices are one thing, but what about the overall feeling, the sentiment?
Good question. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, that just hit 79.
79, wow. That's deep into extreme greed territory, right?
Deep into it. And well, it shows strong retail optimism, which is, good on one hand, but it can also be a bit of a warning sign.
A contrarian indicator, maybe, like the market's getting overheated.
Exactly. That's something you definitely need to keep an eye on. Vigilance is key when greed gets this high.
Okay, so keep that sentiment in mind. Now let's pivot a bit. Bigger picture stuff. Global scale changes.
Right, the macro environment.
Starting in the U.S., we had President Trump announcing those 30% tariffs on EU and Mexico imports starting August 1st.
Yeah, and that definitely stirred up some global risk-off feelings in, the traditional markets.
But how did Bitcoin react?
That's the interesting part. Bitcoin's response was, well, pretty muted, actually.
So what does that tell us?
Well, I think it really reinforces that whole non-sovereign safe haven idea, doesn't it? Its appeal as a hedge against geopolitical stuff, inflation.
So it's acting kind of separate from the usual market jitters.
Exactly. Seems increasingly decoupled in moments like these, a distinct asset class.
Okay, and then shifting over to China. Quite a surprising move there, wasn't it?
Very surprising. Shanghai's state-owned assets regulator, they actually held a meeting.
Exploring a yuan-pegged stablecoin, potentially piloting it in Hong Kong and free trade zones.
Yeah. I mean, given their history, this feels like a huge potential shift.
What's the deeper significance here, do you think? Is this really going to open things up? Are there catches?
Well, look, it's more than just another stablecoin, right? This softening tone, it signals a move away from just banning things towards potentially integration.
Integration, like using crypto rails for state finance.
Potentially, yeah. That could legitimize the whole thing in a big way over there and unlock, vast amounts of regulated liquidity, stuff we hadn't really factored in for Eastern institutional adoption.
Okay, regulated liquidity.
Yeah.
That sounds bullish long-term.
Very bullish. The caveat, obviously, is how much control they maintain. But just the fact they're talking about it, engaging, that's the breakthrough, really.
Right. And speaking of regulation making moves, let's talk about the U.S. again. Crypto Week on Capitol Hill next week.
Yep, big week coming up. The House is voting on 3 key bills.
Including the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act and that Genius Act for stablecoins.
That's right. The Genius Act seems to have pretty strong support. It's all part of this bigger push for regulatory clarity.
Which is crucial for getting institutions comfortable, isn't it?
Absolutely vital.
Right.
They're aiming to position the U.S. as a global hub for digital assets. Clarity is step 1.
Okay, and sticking with the regulatory theme, but shifting to the SEC. Big news on the ETF front.
Yes. This is probably one of the most watched developments for, mainstream adoption.
Grayscale's Digital Large Cap Fund, GDLC. It got a conditional green light to convert into an ETF.
Conditional green light, yeah. Huge news. Investors have been watching GDLC closely, hoping the discount might narrow if it becomes an ETF.
And this would be the first U.S. ETF with broad altcoin exposure, right? Holding Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Solana, Cardano.
The first one, it's monumental. It really signals the acceleration of crypto's institutionalization.
Even with that sort of temporary procedural pause from the SEC.
Yeah, despite the pause, it feels like the floodgates, as people say, are genuinely starting to crack open for mainstream capital.
And that's not just more money, it's different money, right? More stable, long-term, maybe.
Potentially, yes. A shift from purely retail speculation towards more considered long-term asset allocation, that could fundamentally change market dynamics.
Okay, wow. Lots happening on the regulatory and institutional front. What about on-chain stuff? Anything interesting there?
Well, analysts did flag one pretty large move, a $300 million USDC transfer.
$300 million.
From where to where?
From a Kobo custody wallet straight over to Binance.
What does a move like that usually signify?
It just highlights how these big players, these whales, can instantly affect liquidity and potentially price volatility.
Yeah.
It's definitely something traders are watching. Could be positioning for big trades or just moving funds, but it gets noticed.
Got it. And finally, let's touch on DeFi. There was that GMX exploit earlier in the week.
Yes, the GMX situation. They were hit for about $42 million.
But there was a resolution, a positive one.
Sort of, yeah. A very unique resolution. They managed to get 96% of the funds back.
How?
Through a 10% white hat bounty. Basically, they paid the hacker a finder's fee to return the rest.
Only in crypto, right?
Pretty much. It's quite something. It really underscores two things, I think. One, the persistent risks with smart contracts and DeFi are still very real.
But also, too, the kind of innovative, maybe slightly unusual ways the community finds to solve problems shows resilience, even if the method is unconventional.
Resilience and creativity, for sure. Okay, so wrapping things up then, what's the overall takeaway from this report?
Well, in summary, I'd say the market picture is one of cautious optimism. There's definitely excitement, but it's mixed with that short-term volatility risk.
Especially with that fear and greed index so high.
Exactly. So stay vigilant. Seriously consider prudent risk management in your strategy, especially now. Don't get swept up in the extreme greed, perhaps.
Sound advice. So here's your final thought to chew on. Yeah, the road ahead for crypto might still be bumpy, right? We see these dips, these exploits.
Always bumps.
But that long-term vision, with more institutions coming in, clearer rules hopefully on the way, and just relentless innovation, that still seems incredibly compelling, doesn't it?
It really does. The underlying trends are strong.
So enjoy the ride, everyone. And remember, crypto, it definitely never fails to keep us on our toes.
Enjoyed the brief? Please like and subscribe. We deliver fresh market updates, macro signals, and crypto news daily in just 5 minutes. Live streams coming soon. Stay tuned.